Should be live. I'm waiting on it to populate through over here. Hopefully it doesn't kick me out like last week. Looks like it's coming through and I can see us. Perfect. We are live.
Hello, hello.
What
What's
up?
up,
What up?
YouTube?
Welcome everybody that's new. Don't know who we are. My name is Mike Krausen, the CEO and co-founder. This is where you guys introduce yourself.
I was gonna say, that's a brand
Figured
new
it
intro.
It
My
is.
name is Baker Shields. I'm the COO and co-founder.
And my name is Felicity. I am the CSM of AR Funnel.
Yes. Yes, she's our chief ninja, really. So,
Totally.
today, guys, we're going to talk a little bit more about Instagram. I know we've had kind of a couple of topics around social media and Instagram the past few weeks, but we thought it would be kind of be good to come on here live and talk a little bit about specifically structuring your content on Instagram as a coach. So first, I kind of want to ask you, Mike, because I know you and Paula talk a lot about this. How would you describe what is a personal brand?
Personal brand is you, as in where do you live? What do you do? What are your hobbies? What do you like? What do you stand for? What do you believe in? What are you about? What are your hobbies? What are your dogs? It is basically who you are, what it is you do, that people can essentially just relate to.
Yeah,
Personal brand is you. LeBron
yeah,
James is a personal brand. Kim Kardashian is a personal brand. Like, who are you? Trump is a brand.
yeah. Yeah, so your brand, like Mike is saying, is nothing more than your personality, your lifestyle, and your profession, right? That's an important thing. Is sometimes people go too personal and they never talk about what they actually do. Sometimes they go too professional and they never talk about who they are.
Yeah.
And there's kind of a dichotomy there that we have to
Yeah.
balance.
And I would say like Hermosi is another brand as far as people can start to relate, but like Hermosi's a brand. Um, who else in the fitness space to some degree?
I mean,
Say Sebum is a personal brand,
Clay
right? Has a
Thompson, yeah.
supplement company, but he is the brand, and then he has a supplement company, right? That's the ticket, personal brand.
Absolutely. So the kind of never-ending challenge really is finding a balance as you're trying to build out this personal brand between personal and professional. And so we're going to kind of offer up, I would say, almost like a way to organize this, guys, in a structure to your content today that I think is going to help everybody to kind of conceptualize what this balance should look like for you and give you just something to kind of follow so that you're not always just like, am I posting enough personal? Am I posting enough professional? So let's talk about finding a balance. Too much professional content is going to equal no emotional connection and keeping your audience at arm's length. Too much personal content, you're going to get no customers because nobody's going to actually know that they can buy something from you, and you're just going to be a random person that posts random things and that it looks like they're mildly interested in fitness. So let's talk about how we can kind of, you know, bring that into what we call our key content pillars. So Felicity, how would you describe our key themes or our key pillars of content and what we recommend for coaches in that
yeah.
area?
So your key pillars are essentially the 3 to 5, and this is just broad over projection. You can have more, you can have less, but essentially key pillars are going to be the few things that you consistently touch upon in your content. If we come to Instagram or any social platform and we just constantly post different things all the time, you don't really have any direction with your content. So what you want to do is have, like, again, 3 to 5 things that you constantly touch on. So you'll see some coaches constantly touch on metabolic priming, macros, strength training. There's certain key things that you need to keep touching upon and be known for, quote unquote, in your content so that people can relate you to that specific idea or concept, which will then, in turn, over time, when someone has an idea or thinks like, oh, I need a weight loss coach, and they're like, oh, well, I know Baker talks about metabolic priming all the time. They know to go to Baker to get that sort of forgot the word. I'm linking up the word, but just that sort of you know what I'm trying to say.
Content, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But that's essentially what your key pillars are. It's going to be 3 to 5, 3 to 7 different key concepts that you talk about in your social media.
Yeah. Yeah. And they need to be a mix of personal and professional, right?
Yep.
But this is going to give you kind of a framework to understand what types of things you should be talking about regularly. And I know somebody like Paula, she'll scroll through her posts and she'll look at what has been the majority of my posts recently. I haven't really posted my dogs in a while. That's one of my pillars. That's one of the things that I want to talk about. So I'm going to post a picture of the dogs next. Or I haven't talked about my relationship with Mike recently. So that's one of my pillars. That's something that's important to me. I want to post something with Mike now. And so she can make sure that her key pillars are really present in every 9 cube posts of Instagram as she's kind of scrolling. But a few examples on the professional side, different pillars that you could kind of associate with you and your personal brand are nutrition, education, training and recovery, client results and testimonials, your area of specialty. On the personal side, it could be your family and social life, a unique part of your brand that's non-fitness related, and personal beliefs that you feel comfortable sharing. Now, I want to kind of pause on that one before we talk about things that can contribute to both professional and personal. And Mike, you've been big on recently talking about why that's important. Sharing things that you're just passionate about or really believe in, even though they might be a little bit more controversial.
Yeah. Yeah, the reason being is that, like, nobody likes vanilla because it's boring. And people want to buy into something. I always say no one's going to buy it from you until they buy into you. Well, what should they buy from you, or what should they buy into you about, right? Is it because you're an advocate for golden retrievers and you're all about it, and somebody's like, I love my golden too, and then you have this relatability, right? Is it that you love surfing and you're like all about it, and it's like, I'm going to preach this until the day I die? Is this religion for you? Is this faith? Morals. I wouldn't say politics, because I think most of the politic pieces are really just based on what somebody's moral beliefs are or religious beliefs. But, like, what do you stand for? What do you believe in? What do you think would be best benefit yourself? And I say that because you don't want to say what's best for other people, but you want to say, this is my opinion. This is what I've done. This is what I've experienced. And other people can be like, I also believe in that because I also do that too. So you're just going to attract more like-minded people. And when you do that, they will then essentially want to work with you, and they're going to be more ideal clients for you because you're going to be on the same page about many different things other than, let's say, just fitness. It's like, well, we have the same spiritual, right? We have the same maybe around money. We have the same around how we should raise our family. We have the same around what we should do on vacations. Like, there's just more check marks, is more in common, more chemistry whenever you give somebody a reason, or if you showcase what your chemistry is, other people can be like, hey, I align with that, right? Or I identify with that, right? And basically you start to herd, and you get people that are like you, right? You start to create your own little circle, your own little niche.
Yeah.
One thing to add here too is, like, if you just think about human nature, we always like to fit in. So someone coming across your page, if they find that they have a commonality between you, they're going to like you that much more because they're like, oh my gosh, that's my human. Like, we like the same things. And, like, they're going to naturally want to follow you because that's just human instinct to follow people or be around people that we share common interests with.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. So, mix of personal and professional content, things that kind of overlap in the middle, right? Your backstory and your struggles. So, like in the fitness realm, a very easy one is just sharing your transformation, what you came from. A client of ours, I think, that does this really, really well because it speaks exactly to his ideal client, is Eric Ogle. Eric has the best ever before and after because he is working with the ex-frat guy trying to get in shape and get shredded and all this stuff. And his literal before picture is him looking a little chunky with the backwards hat on, looks like he's got a drink in his hand, like all the stuff. And then it's this crazy shredded jacked dude on the right that is competing in a bodybuilding competition. And so it's like that type of a thing really loops in the type of people that are attracted to Eric into believing, oh my, he doesn't just He didn't just wake up one day looking like this. He worked hard. Like, he looks just like me right now back then. So it gives them kind of that thought track of like, oh, I can go achieve this because he did it, and now I can relate to him on that point. Right? And if he hadn't shared that, you might just think Eric has this crazy shredded physique and has been a bodybuilder his entire life. And that's not the case. So you can talk about how you train personally. You can talk about your progress personally, what you eat personally. In health and fitness, those are all things that you can do that kind of hit both. Now, Instagram is primarily used for entertainment and learning. People are following fitness professionals for learning about fitness, right? Finding inspiration and proof of result, and identifying someone relatable who can help with their goals. So we talked about the content pillars. What we recommend, guys, starting out is writing down 10 accounts that you admire and starting from there. Okay, I would say at minimum, let's start with 5, because what we're going to have you guys do is go through and research these 5 accounts and think about, we need to get you consuming, and Felicity, maybe you can expand on this. We need to get you on social media, operating and viewing the world as a creator instead of a consumer. Now, what's the difference between those two things, Felicity?
Yeah. Naturally, we typically go to social media to consume content. That's what social media was made for. So that means sitting there doom scrolling for hours, not remembering the last 10 posts that you just saw. But if we start to go into social media with the mindset of, I'm going to actually learn from the top creators in my niche here and figure out how I can recreate their posts, or figure out why I was intrigued on this specific sort of content, that is going to help you so much more creating your own content. So what I personally like to do is, instead of doom scrolling, is I actually just go directly to different profiles that I look up for inspiration for my own personal content, and I start looking through, what are their hooks like? Are they rehooking me with a secondary like line? Like, what about this content is capturing my attention and why? And then how can I take this content and then recreate it for my own purposes? And with that, you're then starting to look at social media from the eyes of a content creator rather than just a consumer.
Yeah. Very well said. So we're wanting to follow accounts, guys, similar to your ideal brand. That means content and value alignment is there. That means expertise is inspiring to you. That means your aesthetic and demographic relevance is kind of aligned. But if you can go through and you can look through these accounts as a creator to understand more of why they're posting what they're posting, why that attracts you, why it works really well, guys, you're not going to reinvent the wheel on social media. Okay, there are millions and millions and millions of social media accounts out there. You're not going to do something that's completely novel and new. Now, you might be able to put your own spin on it and make it feel completely novel and new. That's what we all are aiming for inside of our content. That's how you should be aiming. But in terms of structure of content, hooks of content, maybe even like the education inside the content, your delivery might be a little bit unique, but you're not creating anything completely new. So don't worry about looking at some of these things like Felicity, I think, mentioned the other day that she looks at Layla Hormozi and tries to kind of emulate some of her content. I like how Alex Hormozi talks and kind of the way that we do talk, conveys his ideas on social media. Mike, we always talk about his position or his like frame of mind on social media as like the big marketing bro. Like, he's just kind of explaining education and talking to someone more casually as like, hey, here's what you do, here's how you can do it, from not like, we're not going to yell at you like an Andy Elliott type of scenario, but we're going to help just educate you and come from a big brother perspective. And that's kind of how Mike aligns himself. So it's everyone's going to have their own spin, but don't feel like you have to create something completely from scratch, because I think that's what ends up getting a lot overwhelming for a lot of coaches as creators. Would you agree, Mike?
Yeah, I do. And the other thing to consider too is that, like, the more content that you interact with, actually that content is what your content is going to go to. So for example, if you spend all your times in memes on social media and you're not absorbing people inside fitness, then basically your content is going to go to people who also interact with those memes, which is why you get these suggestions. Okay, so if you follow nothing but bar stools and golf, you're probably going to get the same stuff that somebody that follows Barstool and golf would receive. And so that's why if your explore page is like way off of what is you're trying to sell, it's like, hey, you need to stop doom scrolling and get back into grabbing good content and ideas that are actually going to be beneficial for you. And so that's going to be really key indicators. When you look at your phone right now, like what's on there? How much BS isn't serving you or your clients or potential leads because of what is you're doing on your phone, right? So again, getting in there, getting the inspiration is also not only going to help you, but it's also going to train the algorithm to, one, feed you good content, but also two, feed your content to people like that also.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to add here too is that, like, I mean, we all do it. We all doom scroll at one point or another, especially when we're tired late at night. And when I catch myself doing this, instead of just still doom scrolling, what I do is I actually have a folder on Instagram, you know, that little bookmarks at the bottom right hand corner of any Instagram post. Anytime I see myself watching an entirety of someone's content, I take it and I put it into a folder, because there is a reason why that Instagram post captured my attention and got me to watch the entire thing. And with that being said, when I'm in the mindset of let's create some content, I go back to that inspirations folder and I rewatch those, and I'm like, cool, this is why I got captured here. And then that's when I utilize it. So if you guys utilize that bookmarks page, you can still scroll through Instagram, but also while you're doing that, you're capturing, you're like just keeping in the back of my mind, why am I watching this? And then later down the line, you can always go back to that bookmarks folder.
I like that.
I like that too. It's a great tip, Felicity. Also, I mean, just to kind of echo how we consume or I guess view content as creators, how many business posts and ads and different ideas do we send to each other on a daily basis between the three of us, nonstop?
Yeah.
And very rarely is it ever anything that's like super funny or it's just like, you know, random like valueless content. It's always like, look how they did this, or this is an insane hook, or look
Right.
at this ad, look at this crazy offer. Like it's stuff like that that helps us to further what we're trying to create. And a lot of times it ends up being, we need to look at how can we do this, or how can we recreate that, or how can, and it's
Yeah.
for the further, it's to further our brands and what we're creating versus just again consuming.
Yeah.
Okay, so under those pillars that you guys should have by now, right? And then watching the creators' accounts that you've kind of written down as well. Let's just say it's 5 pillars, 5 creators. Go research those 5 creators, things you do like, things you don't like, things you would like your content to look like, things you would not like your content to look like. And then you're going to use those pillars to create 3 to 5 subcategories under each pillar. All right, so under each pillar, just to give you more content ideas, let's say that one of Paula's pillars is dogs, then she might have a pillar or a sub-pillar for each of her dogs, okay? And then goofy stuff they do together on walks, maybe, as well. So Theo, Layla, stuff on walks. Inside of fitness, she might talk a lot about macros as one. She might talk about her training as 2, and then she also might talk about, you know, client transformations as number 3. Inside of business, she might be talking about, you know, how to grow your business, how to do this, how to do that. And so on each pillar, you can break it up into at least 3 subcategories, and these are going to be where a lot of your content ideas come from. Obviously, there's not just one post type that she can make about Theo the dog. She can make a bunch of different post types about Theo the dog. But that gives her something that's a little bit more direction in order to know that, hey, I haven't posted about Theo in a while. That's subcategory of dogs. I need to be posting something about Theo this week. So it helps you with just kind of a framework of how to stay consistent within each subcategory and not feel like you're posting the exact same thing every single time. So 5 pillars, 3 subcategories minimum underneath each pillar. Felicity, did you want to add anything about like the prompting or anything like that, or just even just how they can just use GPT to help with that?
Yeah, so we do have a prompt, and we can put it in the description below on how to utilize ChatGPT for this. Super easy prompt. All you're going to do is copy and paste it in, and in the first line, you're going to put your ideal client avatar. Super easy. Just write in, if you pertain to, let's use Eric as an example, males between the ages of 25 to 35 who are overweight looking to achieve the best body of their life. and you're just going to put that in the first thing, and then what it's going to do from there is it's going to I don't remember the exact prompt off the top of my head, but it's going to actually give you a whole chart of, I think, oh my gosh, is it 20, 30 different content ideas? Yeah, it's a ton of different content ideas. So we'll put that in the description box below. I do also want to make note here too, don't get too caught up on your pillars. I know a lot of coaches get super caught up on like, oh my gosh, I can only post these 3 to 5 pillars and like, don't get too caught up on there. You can post outside of there, but primarily 90% of your content, 95%, keep them in the pillars that you're choosing. But don't be afraid to post a little bit more outside of there. Show your personality, show who you are.
Yeah. All right. And then to round this off, sorry, I was finding that prompt for you guys. To round this off,
I can find it. No worries.
You're good.
I got you.
The next part is pretty self-explanatory, guys. You're going to come up with 3 to 5 post ideas per subtopic. So again, starting with more broad ideas, diving into a little bit more concentrated ideas, and then now we're coming up with content ideas. This prompt is going to help you guys as well to kind of figure out exactly how to structure their strength, structure what they're needing, structure their the weaknesses and the things that they're looking for with pain points, and figure that out into content ideas. But guys, organize these ideas. All right, we're not talking about, we don't want you to just mind map all of this out and take you through, you know, here's what could be my 5 pillars, here's what could be a few subtopics, here's what could be a few content ideas. Like, write this stuff down. The best way that I've seen to organize is literally coaches put a piece of paper sideways or get a Google Doc, run it sideways, put their pillars up top, then draw like a little map. Okay, under this pillar, 3 subtopics, 3 content ideas. Under this, 3 subtopics, 3 content ideas per subtopic. And then they just make a huge mind map of it, and then that gives you so much more clarity and relieves so much anxiety around creating content consistently, that it is going to make you feel much better, and it's going to give you a lot more, again, clarity in the direction that you're going to take your personal brand and how much of what you should be posting on your social media platforms as well.
And don't be afraid to use ChatGPT to help you figure out your pillars and subtopics. Just prompt ChatGPT with all of the information about you and who you are, your business, everything like that, because the more information you can tell AI, the better off it is to help you achieve your end result. So have it help you if you can't figure out what your 3 to 5 pillars are, if you're very indecisive like myself when it comes to too many different things. Give it everything that you have, and then let it figure out your 3 to 5 pillars and then the 3 to 5 subtopics underneath as well, or at least use that for inspiration.
Yeah, I know when we were talking to the coaches inside of whenever we educated on this topic earlier this week, and we took them through the prompts and we took them through what it looks like. Everybody's eyes got kind of wide, right? And I think a lot of coaches, especially, you know, it's easy for us as coaches to just want to focus on coaching. And it's easy for us as coaches to forget that we have a responsibility to be marketers, to be content creators, to be salesmen, to be all these other things. And also be technologically savvy. That's a huge part if you're trying to build an online coaching business. So if you're not utilizing AI right now inside of your coaching business, guys, you are missing out on a lot of productivity that you could be capitalizing on. So when we were showing exactly how easy it is to just paste and change a couple of words, paste and change a couple of words on the prompt that you guys will see in the description, guys, it's going to help you out immensely in terms of taking off 75 to 80% of the ideation work so that you can focus on the execution work. Okay, because a lot of times people get stuck in ideation because that feels too overwhelming for them to figure out ideas. So let AI do the ideation. It's probably going to be better than you anyways. And then you do the content creation, because you cannot at this point easily sub in AI for you as a creator. That's a high leverage task that you're going to have to do on your own. So that is the end of my TED Talk for the day. You guys got anything you want to add on to that?
No, I mean, I think it's good to always have some type of structure, because if you don't have anything, you're kind of just winging it. And the truth is that if you're struggling with content, you've been winging it long enough. It's time to put something into place. And so I'll say this as I always do: if you'll treat your business like you do your fitness, you'll get 1% better. Have a structure, have a plan, and then you have something to execute. So now all you do It's just execute.
Love it.
Cool.
All right, guys. Make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate you guys watching this and tuning in. And make sure you also watch some of the previous lives we have as well. I know we've been putting a lot into this YouTube channel. We officially got over 100 subscribers, which one day we'll look back on and laugh that we celebrated that. But it's cool nonetheless, and we appreciate you guys for being here.
We'll see you guys January 17th and 18th here in Dallas, headquarters at the Coaches Lead Summit.
All right.
Super
Thanks,
cool.
guys.
Bye.